Hi, Professor Williams. So, for my English 112 final exam paper, I decided to write about COVID, its upbringing, why it affects us today, and my experience with it. In the beginning of my essay, I write about COVID's upbringing, which was in 2019, which started in China. I talk about why there was a cause and effect, why it began to spread, which was due to people not knowing they even had the virus, as you couldn't tell until you had symptoms 5 to 7 days after you were exposed. I continued to talk about vaccines and why this affects us, because vaccines, not everybody wanted one. Not everybody wanted to get a vaccine. People believed the rumors that there were chips in them, and that kind of correlates with why it is still around today. I also talk about my experience with COVID. I got COVID back in 2021 around October, and at first I was told that I only had a sinus infection. I actually tested negative for COVID-19. But, after I began to heal and I started to feel better, I lost my taste and my smell. Today, I still have trouble tasting and smelling things. My favorite foods, such as chicken or other things, taste like absolute garbage. I will wake up with a really bad taste in my smell, and I have to go and rinse out my mouth immediately. And, just candles, I can't smell anymore, or soaps. I do not smell them at all. I also talk about what I think would be the best solution to COVID. I know that there are already a lot of solutions to this issue, such as masks, the vaccine, social distancing, which I think are all great, but I do understand that some people do not want the vaccine, and I feel like that's okay. I feel like the most important part to not spreading this virus would be each individual person keeping an eye on themselves and watching what they're doing, and also not being selfish when it comes to these kind of things. I believe that if people were to know they were sick, that they should stay home. One thing that I found really interesting is that about 51% of the population has at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, which I think really goes to show how much it has impacted the world as a whole. There is always some sort of way that you can, advert from getting this virus, rather than doing nothing at all and going on as if nothing happened. I also talk about how the world has, pretty much shut down, even though things have started to open back up. I talk about how in March 2020, schools were shut down, testing was completely stopped, restaurants closed down, grocery stores, and people, were fighting for their lives. To conclude, I really sum up everything that I mentioned in my paper about, how this has impacted us and what ways we can, things we can do to be safer and to not spread the disease anymore. This essay overall, I would really like to get the point that how much this has impacted all of us. And I believe that at this point in time, people are really being selfish and not being safe when it comes to COVID. This has gone on for way too long, and I believe that even though things have began opening back up, that we need to all come together and work together to get rid of this virus.